Hi, I'm Dennis Weiss for Eagle Communications. Welcome to our town, and today it's all our town because Dennis Weiss for Eagle, Kenny Schiffner for Eagle.
Hey.
Never had you on before. We've never had much about us on before, and we decided to change that in 2016. Kenny's worked for us as a tech supervisor over here for about 4 years.
Going on 4 years, yep.
Yep, September.
That's right.
Okay, all right, so we established that before the cameras came on. Seems like yesterday.
Minutes.
Fast-moving business we work in. So I wanted to invite you in and talk about what we do, who are your people, what do they do, and how's it changed in the last 4 years. So,
okay.
Flat table, agenda is blank.
Okay.
How many people do you have work for you here in the Abilene area?
Abilene, I have 7 local,
okay.
11 total in the East Division.
Okay. What's the East?
East is, just cut it short, everything east of Ellsworth, Kansas. We go as far south as Burns and as far north as Clay Center, and east is Riley.
Okay. And that includes Chapman, Solomon, Hillsboro, Marion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, all right. So 7 locally here in Abilene.
Yes, sir.
All right. What's a normal day for a cable, internet, broadband, phone technician look like?
A lot different than it did 4 years ago, I can assure you. We've been busy with upgrades forever, gaining more speed for the customer, getting more transparent so we can fulfill whatever needs they have, the local businesses, schools, and just staying busy. We schedule them pretty heavily, obviously, to keep up with installation, and then being able to do reactive service for any problems that would arise along the way. So.
Okay, so let's tell people a little bit about what our system looks like. Okay. I'm sitting here trying to remember when I coined the words fiber deep to say what we were going to do with building long-haul fiber through our areas. And I frankly, I can't remember what year it was, but it was shortly before you came on board. So more than 4 years ago. And what that means is we use the information superhighways we construct via fiber to connect communities together. And fiber deep was to use fiber to penetrate inside these communities so we could then split up services in a more efficient way. And shortly after you came in, we went from fiber deep to fiber wide. And then, so not only were we deeper in the community, but we started spreading that fiber wide across these communities. So I think everybody probably seen enough about fiber and the national news to understand how that works, but they probably don't know what we do from there. So at the end of that, fiber's a node, and the node turns that fiber signal into a coaxial signal on coax cable. And that's where we spend a lot of time working in that system. So tell people how that works.
Well, like you said, once it hits the node and it gets converted from light into RF, and the fun really does start there because it's more susceptible to a lot of things, and so we have to make sure to keep everything on point and keep our noise levels down, make sure that the cable is intact and in good shape, and that we're going into these folks' homes and making sure that their equipment is up to date, and just, I don't know what to say there, just you spend a lot of time just on the overall health of the plant, making sure that we have battery backups, UPS is in place if the power is to fail so our services don't go down. Generated power, we've invested a lot of time and resources into getting generated power to most of our distribution locations, and trying to stay ahead of the game, so where if we have weather-related power outages, our services again would stay up and active, and folks would still have services to be able to monitor weather conditions or whatever the case, or businesses would still be able to turn key and still do what they need to do day to day. So
when we bought these systems in the East in 2006, along with them came some employees. And I think of Ralph Ward, Stan Parsons, Jim Davis, right off the top of here locally. And then my question I just wondered to myself is, I wonder who worked for this organization of broadband services in Abilene the longest, whether it's Ralph or Stan. Do you know?
I think that's almost neck and neck, but I'm wanting to say Ralph by just a hair.
Okay, Ralph
I
Ward.
could be wrong about that, but
when we bought the systems, Ralph Ward, he was supervising some of the technical work, some of the same work you're doing today, but the work was vastly different.
Yes.
And also he was carrying around a camera not nearly as small or as good as that one to film the city commission meetings and a couple other things. And Ralph did LO, as it were, local content, local originated content. Now we have 2 production people. Dave Hawksworth is filming us today, and Brian Dennett's the other. We film a tremendous amount of stuff and put it on, and that's all different as well. But Ralph Ward's now part of our engineering team. Ralph has stepped to a completely new level of what he does for us and does a tremendous job. Stan, the same. So tell us what Stan does on a daily basis.
Stan is in charge of, well, kind of everything. He continues to keep the health of the plant, like I spoke of earlier, making sure that everything's intact and running. We have numerous ways of monitoring where we are as far as status, from modem counts to know if we have an issue somewhere. We can usually get ahead of that. We'll see some modems drop off. That's telling us to go that direction. Well, we call Stan or Evan Carl. The 2 of them are kind of neck and neck in that department, and they respond to outages if that's the case. But we like to think their most important role is just to make sure that the health of the plant is intact and that we can cut off any problems before they get there. He's also, him and Evan both, you'll see him out building new and expanding new services to different neck of the woods. So, for example, we have some new businesses that went in south of town here, and that entails a lot of people involved.
Right.
Starts with the sales and then gets into the engineering, so we have an idea of what we're going to do for the folks, and then we get Stan and Evan involved to get the plant to them, and then we pull Jim Davis in to get it inside the building, and so it's everybody's many hats.
I just got through watching a webinar about the equal employment opportunity rules from the FCC, and I think you were on the cell phone wall whizzing down the road, right?
That's right.
So I'm banging my head against the virtual reality wall while I'm watching this going, you know, I don't think they care a thing about our results. They just care about making sure that we tell them every possible thing we can do. When truly, word of mouth fills most local jobs in a community like ours, and I think Jim and Stan are great examples of how local companies like us grow people from within, and Ralph as well, to simply learn and fill those positions. We never gave it a thought we should write anything down about that.
Right.
We just made all of that happen. So. You know, dealing with the government's a bit of a hassle, but we're pretty good at dealing with people and making stuff work.
That's right.
Okay,
Absolutely. So we have, who haven't we talked about that people would know out there? We've hit Stan, we've hit Jim, we've hit Ralph. All 3 of those have been here a long, long time. Well, we can't forget the girls in the office.
Okay.
Talk a little about them. We have the 3 gals that sit in there, Heather, Tara, and Cassie, who has transformed her role recently. Cassie, I'm sure everybody would recognize her. She was a technician of mine and moved herself into the office and is now filling the CSR role there in the office. And they're the ones that you would be talking to on the phone or meeting when you walk through the door to pay a bill or
10 years ago, any technician, including Stan, I'm using him for continuity here. So, knock, knock, knock on your door. I'm here to see why the channel 12 picture's fuzzy. That was it. That's all he would have been there to do.
Yep.
Today, any of your technicians knock on somebody's door, they could be there to do what?
Everything. Everything has become. Wi-Fi seems to be the talk of the town. That's our biggest challenge. There's a lot of things that people don't understand about Wi-Fi, and we're trying to educate as we go to meet their needs with the schools and their iPads, and we have everything from, we have a couple homes that have newer air conditioning, and their HVAC is actually connected via Wi-Fi, so they can remotely monitor their home. And all those things are a challenge. For the knock on the door might be something like your hotspot is down, or your Wi-Fi rather is down in your home, and so you might have nanny monitors that are watching your children while you're away, or Hulu, Netflix. All those things are things that we are dealing with, and we have to be able to supply those services for uninterrupted service. And it could be your whole home solution, our Fusion system. Watch TV anywhere on your phone. There's lots of endless stuff that they're going to have to be educated on and be able to repair or help the customer understand how it works better.
Your people have to follow the marketplace, and they have to fix what we sell and install and then fix what we sell. So where we used to sell nothing but what was called cable TV, we don't even use the word cable anymore because it's become a pejorative in the marketplace. And we're really a broadband company. We deliver video on televisions, but we deliver video on iPads, we deliver video on smartphones, and we also deliver internet services to any device in the home. In any way, whether it's wired or wireless. We record multiple shows and then display it on any device in your home. And that is a explosion of technology, and we didn't even mention yet what you did, the Internet of Things, the refrigerator, the water heater, the baby monitor, the alarm system, the Internet of Things. All of those connectivities that used to have different ways are all pointing back towards your internet connection, which makes the pipe to the home probably one of the most, other than electricity, so you have lights and heat, one of the most important things you have in a home, and phone service.
Absolutely.
It's interesting to watch this evolution, I guess, as we both mentioned while Dave was setting the camera up, that 2015 went by in a blur. I think it's partially because of the industry we work in. Everything went by in a blur. Everything's moving very quickly. I think of what doesn't change, though, the people.
Absolutely.
So I'm going to give you a minute to go down your list of people so we get some names on the air and give you a chance to speak to who works for you. Okay.
Here in Abilene, like we said before, Ralph Ward, he doesn't work directly for me, but he works with me every day. We've got Stan Parson, Evan Carl, Jim Davis, Rick Daniels, JT Fredericks, works for me, and Josh Sayer. He's fairly new, but fairly new old hat. And then we've got down south, Matthew Bays is in our Marion market, and we're actually looking to fill an open spot there.
We're going to turn this into an EEO.
That's right. Opportunity.
We are looking for you.
That's right.
For a technician in the Marion Hillsborough area. You can find an application on our website, eaglecom.net, and we would love to talk to you about it.
That's right.
Look at that. We're going to document that when we get back.
On camera.
We are.
I've got Mark Gwinner, who's been with us
long time.
Long time, long before we came around. He's out in the Ellsworth market. Tony Clark is up in the Clay Center, handles Wakefield, Riley, Milford. And then James Gordon's up there with him, and he helps cover our Minneapolis and Bennington folks.
You know, I said this to Evan Carl, I think, this morning when I saw him, but I said, hey, I saw your dad at lunch on Tuesday. We went to Detroit and had a hamburger over at the little cafe over there, and Mr. Carl and some of the folks were sitting there having a hamburger as well, and I saw him and I said, hey, sure enjoy your son. He says, you do? I said, yes, he's doing great things for us. And it's such a pleasure to look at a young person who grew up here, who is not only working for us and doing great things for us, but he has a good career path in technical knowledge, and he's pushing it to its greatest advantage for his life. Very cool.
Absolutely.
Okay, we're in the Great Plains Theater.
Yes.
I know the lady that runs the place.
You do?
She lets us sneak in here from time to time to film things. It's on the old Alco building.
Yep.
10 years ago, there were no Eagle Communication Services in this building. Today, we have a fiber line in. We have a coaxial line in as well. The coax came first because we could.
That's right.
And then the fiber came in because that's what they need. And with that, tell the people what we've done here and what we're going to do in the future.
Hope a lot of things. We've Thunderstruck folks came in, and we're doing phone and internet services with those folks. Of course, the Great Plains Theater. We've gotten video services for them and internet services so they could put on their movies, and we're hoping lots more things. We're hoping that the facility, being a hub that it is with information and endless opportunity for us to grow here, and anything that comes along, we should be able to hook them up.
I think tomorrow we have a crew coming in. There's a number of IP phones that are going to be setting in offices that allow Thunderstruck to do business. And frankly, Kaysen has said to me he wants to fill the place up. And so part of it is we completed what we know is an essential infrastructure build to this building. So no matter who comes, we can take care of them.
Yep, that's right.
I think about ice storms. I think about outages, and we hate ice storms and we hate outages.
We do.
But they happen. So talk a little bit about what we do when that phone rings at Kenny Schiffner's house at midnight 30.
Well, since it is kind of a broad area, first thing we do is assess where the general area of the outage is, how much is off. We have a great monitoring system in place, and that is ever evolving to allow us to respond more directly to an isolated area instead of starting so big. We have a great bunch of people back in Hayes in the knock there that we communicate constantly with, and so we'd isolate what area it's in, whether it is a fiber down at first, or if we're looking at power, we're in direct contact with most of the power companies, so we can respond and find out, okay, let's not roll too many people, we just got power out, and we might need some generators in place or something. But so we'd isolate it down, and there's a lot of different, Jim Davis, aforementioned, and Evan Carl both would be dispatched if we had fiber, God forbid, cut, and so we'd respond to that, or we've got Stan and Evan or Tony up north, and we get them involved and respond more people as needed, depending on how much we need to get the services back up.
I don't think the local folks have heard this before, and I just thought of it. So we had a fiber outage last week.
Yes.
When this is being filmed anyway, it was last week. And it was a link that connects us to Hayes, and it was actually owned by another company, but of course when they provided our circuit, the transport for us. So when that bridge got blown up, in the highway sense of description, when that bridge got blown up, we lost internet and phone data over here, and some channels, because we transport some TV this way. It lasted about 6 hours. It was a long outage because it was a big problem. That took out a lot of working phones and took out a lot of working internet in our communities, because we have a lot of customers. Very painful. So what folks they know that part, but what they don't know is we're building and near completing our own fiber connectivity between here and Hayes. We're on the last piece of it. What will that do for us? It'll first give us a primary link that has far greater capacity than the old one did, and that is good in itself. But what it also gives us is the ability to have a redundant link. So we'll transport our primary data on our own fiber and lease some fiber from another company for a redundant link in the event of emergency. It would be great to have that magic wand and just go bang and everything's hooked to everything.
To have it last week.
But we didn't, millions of dollars in the ground and planning and switches and all of that stuff to make that work. So here we sit. I always say I think everybody has the same problems with backhoes, but not everybody has Kenny Schiffner and crew. We're so very proud of our people at Eagle. Over and over, they prove that they are the best people and service people around, and I think that's a difference maker for us.
Well, we have a good No, we have a great crew, a great bunch of people that care about what they do and care about the community and getting those services and filling the needs of our public, and I'm grateful to be a part of it. So
I am as well. Well, Kenny, thanks for coming. Maybe we'll find a fun project that would look good on camera one of these days when the boys are putting in some cool technology, and get some film on that, and
that'd be great.
And sneak up on Stan Parsons and make it.
He probably won't like it.
Well, that's all right. That's okay. So appreciate you coming in to do this.
Anytime.
We hope you've appreciated a little inside look into Eagle Communications. So when you see that face at West Country Mart, you can say, hey, I saw you on TV, and ask him a question about Eagle, and he's happy to answer. We're very proud to be here in this community, and we're very happy you watched us today. For Eagle Communications, he's Kenny Schiffner. I'm Dennis Weiss. You have a great day.